Hello, I'm Rebecca from Bekbek Makes, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this clock project. What I love about it is that it's completely customizable, so you don't need to have these designs on. You can have your clock face wherever you like, you can change the colours, and it's really easy to make. So I've set it up so that you can either buy all the elements individually or buy it as a kit. For this one we're going to make the dragonfly, butterfly and flower design. And you want to make these elements first so that you can gauge spacing and layout later on in your project. I'm just going to repeat the same process, mixing glitters and pigments into the UV resin and basically colouring in the mould details. At this stage we only want to partially fill the front of our design. As I'm swapping between the designs, they're going into the UV lamp to cure for a few seconds. If you've never used my silicone moulds before, I designed them with very fine detail lines on, which you can guide the UV resin up to the edge of and it will naturally stop as long as you don't overfill that section. So then you can cure that and add your next colour. It's recommended to wear gloves as you don't want the UV resin touching your hands, but in this project I've used mixing cups and at no point have I touched it myself. Next we're going to place our magnet spacers. These will create a perfectly formed hole for us to put our magnets in after. I've tried previously putting the magnets directly into the resin itself, but they flip over and move around, so this was just the easier, neater option. Then you just want to fill your mould around the spacer and leaving it in place to cure. And if it wiggles or moves as you're adding the extra UV resin, just use your little detail stick to gently push it back into place. One thing to be mindful of with your magnet placement is that you want it to be somewhere on your design or to use colours which aren't going to show the magnet up. So with this flower in particular, I did the colour too light so you could see the magnet hole through it. When creating the dragonfly, hold your mould open like I am here, and this will allow you to gently push the UV resin right into those fine details, because this is a problematic place for trapping air bubbles, and you want to not fill it all the way to the top, about half full, and then when you close the mould together it will push it to the top. So here we have our finished butterfly. I've also cured it through the reverse of the mould to make sure it's definitely fully cured before we release it. It's really easy just to pop the little spacer out, and there you'll see you have the hole for your magnet. And if you've got any little bits of residue like this, just break them off, they'll easily snap off, or you can use little scissors. Please excuse my nails in this video. I painted them just before I started recording and managed to scuff them all up before. But at least you know I'm a real person and not AI. So working with magnets in the resin is an absolute nightmare. So this is a good cheat I found. So I am just marking with a Sharpie the same side of each magnet so that when we put them into our designs later on, we'll put them all in the same way so that they will magnetize together in the right direction and not repel each other. So you want to put just a small amount of UV resin into the hole. And then carefully place your magnet in with your Sharpie side whichever way you've decided on. But you have to do this the same in each of your designs. Then I'm just putting a little bit more UV resin on it to encapsulate it inside. And as you can see, like I said, it's just a little bit too see-through, so I should have used a darker colour on this one. But I'm just going to repeat the exact same process again, make sure my magnet's in the right direction and cure it in place. Because the dragonfly mould's a little bit more intricate, I'm going to leave it in the mould whilst I add the magnet. So you could have used any of your moulds you already have in your stash to create this stage and just repeat the process by putting the magnet in the back of the design. But once you're happy with your embellishments, we can move on to the layout stage. Now you're going to be working completely flat. You will not be moving your main stand mould during this process. This is to stop it overflowing because you're going to be working with quite a large volume of the UV resin at once. So this is your functional clock face, and on the back you've got the winder to set the time correctly. And once you're happy, you just press it in and then it will be perfectly in line with the outer frame. And this is your silicone inlay. That's the perfect size for this clock face to fit. Now when it goes in, it will be quite snug, but this is intentional so that you can pop it in and out. The extra bit on the bottom of your spacer is to allow space for your winder. So you want to make sure when placing your silicone inlay that is perfectly at the bottom. This was the previous layout I did, but obviously you can put anything anywhere you like. But remember, you're working back to front, so it will be the flip of what you decide. But this step is more about making sure that the spacing's okay so that everything will fit on with your clock face. Once you're happy with your general layout, you want to line up your magnet spacers to be central to your embellishments. Remember that your clock face is slightly wider than the spacer for the back of the clock design, so you want to make sure there's enough space to incorporate the frame around it. And now you're ready to completely fill up your stand design. I've chosen really neutral colours, quite pale, so that I can create multiple different embellishments and they'll all work well with it, so I can swap them out. I'm working in little mixing cups here to make it easier to pour it into the mould. I'll be creating a little resin pour effect here where it all merges into each other, but if you wanted to be really particular, you could cure the different colours and sections as you go and build up to it. But the one thing you do have to make sure is that your mould remains flat. I like to create projects and moulds that you can get lots of use out and use them for various different things. So we'll be releasing a series of silicone inlays that you can include in these designs to convert it into various different finished projects, but I don't want to give away too much yet. Remember, you don't want to overfill your mould, you want it to be level with the top of that mould. And then you're going to fully cure it for the full 2 to 4 minutes and then cure it from the reverse too. Now you can release your stand from the mould and the silicone inserts will just pop out, or you can pull them out because I've made sure that they're deeper than the mould itself. The stand should slot easily together, and there you have the base of your clock. Next, you want to place masking tape over the back of each of the holes where the magnets are going to go. Then you magnetise the magnet to your design. Place a little bit of resin in the hole. Then you're going to turn over your design, place the magnet in the hole and slide your design off. This way you know you've got your magnet the right way up. Then you just want to make sure that the holes are filled up level to the top of the design, and then you're just going to repeat the process for the other holes. Once that's fully cured, you want to turn the design over and cure it through the masking tape as well. This way you're not pulling off any resin that hasn't been able to reach the light, because obviously the magnets are a solid. The trickiest part of this whole project is putting the clock face in, because the hole itself is quite snug, but this is on purpose so that you don't have to secure it in place using the UV resin, meaning you can make multiple designs and just pop the clock face out and use it on your next design. So you'll need to set your time and then push the mechanism in, and then you want to gently but firmly start pushing the clock into place, making sure not to be too rough because you don't want to crack the resin, but it will go in. And then you just need to make sure that the clock face is completely central. Pop your stand back together, and then comes the fun part, popping your little embellishments on. One thing to note is that you need to make sure your magnets are closer to the front of the design so that they hold strong with the embellishments. I just love projects like this, they're just fun for the sake of fun. So we will be releasing some more silicone inlays to act as converters so that the stands can become multiple different projects. But if you've got any ideas of anything you'd like to see, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. Oh, and I forgot to say, UK-based customers, this design is available over at bekbek.co.uk, and for international customers, check out my Etsy.